Good afternoon. Today is Friday, September 23rd. It's 3:29 p.m. CST, and I'm just going to make this a little video here to walk you through a little process that I do every day, Monday through Friday. I like to do this about 3 p.m. Technically, the levels do come out on the CME website for settlement at 2:30. Just wait till about 3 o'clock to do this. And it's really great to get this done before I leave my trading desk for the day, so I don't have to be worried about it to do it in the evening before I go to bed. Or if I don't do it before I go to bed, then I gotta worry I gotta cram these in before the market opens. So I like to get everything all done in the afternoon. And this is just my little process here. This is not any kind of advice. This is for educational purposes only, and you just take what works for you out of this and leave the rest. This is my little process here. So I'm using, for my depth of market charts here, I've got the Jigsaw platform. So I've got the Ultra Bond, the 30-year, the 10-year, the 5-year, and the 2-year. And what I've got here is a little alert column in each one of those, so I can type a little note anywhere that I like, and then I can also go ahead and delete that note. And I'll use this throughout the day for different things, but mostly just to identify important levels that may have significance during that trading session. I've got my VWAP colored red, so wherever the red line is, that's the regular trading hour session VWAP. That's going to be a little bit off right now because it's 3:30. So technically the bond markets are 7:20 a.m. to 2 p.m. CST. And that's when I calculate my VWAPs for the DOM. When I get to the overnight session, I'll go ahead and my DOMs will refresh. And then I can monitor the overnight volume profile that way. Anyway, then I've got my points of control are labeled pink and all the same charts. And as you can see, each one of my products has the same color. And I use that color throughout all my charting, so I can easily see which product I'm looking at. So looking down on the bottom left-hand corner there, you'll see that there are some things that I'm actually going to have to crack this OBS open here in my lower window. Give me 1 second here. I did not open up a screen to review this video as I make it, so I have to refer back to it here. Okay, so I've got RTH, CME, HOD, set, LOD. All right, so regular trading hours, CME, I get this information from them. We're going to mark out the high of day, the settlement, and the low of day. And that's just grabbed from this screen right over here. If you go to CME and type in, ZN 10-year, you'll find the page for the 10-year. This happens to be the Ultra Bond right here, U.S. Ultra Treasury Bond. And then just go in Settlements here. Click that little tab. You scroll down. Make sure that you're looking at the correct month, deliverable month. And you're going to have December 22. You've got the open, you've got the high, low, settlement, and the volume and the prior day's open interest. So what I'm using this for this particular task is to mark out the high of day, the low of day, and the settlement. And these are all calculated from the regular trading hour session for the bonds. These levels and the other ones that I'm going to go over, I find price can be extremely reactive to them. So price can either, if you're like in a trade and price is going up, all above you and there's nothing but empty space. If you see a prior day's high, prior day's settlement, or prior day's low, price may make it up to that point and just stop and turn around, or it might stay there and chew for a little bit, or it might just go through as though there's nothing there. However, having these marked on my DOMs really gives me a good way to grab profit targets. And usually what I'll do is, let's say that I'm in a trade and it's going long, and I see up above me, I see a value area high from a previous day. I'll put my target just a couple ticks below that value area high. That way I take advantage of any momentum that might be working its way up towards that, but I'm also not relying on it getting all the way up to that level. I'm just putting a little tax on any travel in that direction. So let's see, that's going to be the regular, that's going to be from the CME site. And then I'll also go into my volume profile and, the TPO profile from the regular trading hours. And I will grab the value area high, the TPO POC, and the value area low. If you see on the DOMs, you'll see sometimes right here, this just dash, dash, dash. That's how I mark out my opening range high and my opening range low. I'll do that. That's a different thing. I'll do that from 720 to 725. I wait for that 5-minute candle to close. Grab the high of that. That becomes the opening range high. Grab the low of that. That's the opening range low. And then from the opening range high, I'll count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'll do these little right arrows here. And that is for my A up, which is a separate conversation, but that's based on Mark Fisher's ACD system, which is like basically an opening range breakout system. I'll go 4 ticks up from that, and that will give me my C up. And then to the reverse, 7 ticks down from the opening range low. I'll drop my A down. 4 ticks below that, I'll put my C down. And that's what I use 7 and 4 in the ZN, the ZF, and the ZT, and also the ZB, just because that's what I've been using anyway. And then for the Ultra Bond, because it's got a little bit more range to it, what I'll do is I'll go from the opening range high, I'll go 7 ticks up, and then from there that'll be my A up, and then I'll go another 7 ticks, and that's my C up. So the C up's just 3 ticks wider than I use for the rest of the products. Again, that's a separate video, but that's what those lines mean. Again, those get updated at 725. Let's see. If I have a liquidity pool, like right up here in the ZB, 889 contracts on offer at 129.18, I will drop in these equal signs, and that just lets me know if I'm scrolling up and down the DOM, I can see if there's a high value area or a high volume node, whatever you want to call it. And that's super helpful because a lot of times, like this one right here, 2310, someone will put in big weight like that, and then sometimes that can be the high of day, or the trading activity will just not have the power to burst through that level. It's as though someone in the market with big pockets is saying, you can go up here, but you're not going to go higher than this. Alternatively, they can also just be spoofs, so you never really know if they're going to hold or not. But they're just helpful to keep track of. So here I'm noting that 1235, 1,235 contracts are on offer in the ZF. That's at 107,250 price, and that's the same as yesterday's low. So you see how the yesterday's low and this high volume node area are like the same. You find that a lot. So that's what I also do is I'll keep a little list down on another screen where I just take notes for little things that I found interesting about that DOM, and I just keep that on a daily basis. Like, today's settlement was the same as yesterday's POC, or, things like that. So let's get into it here. I'm not going to do every product with you. I'm just going to walk you through the process for the UB. So I will come up here. I'm going to scroll down here. And the first thing that I'll do is this OL, this is the overnight low. I'll just go ahead and change that to a lowercase l. I'm going to take away the A down and the C down. I do not keep those levels in the DOM overnight. I don't retain them. Once the session's done, that's the end of those. So pulling all those out. This is the value area low from yesterday. You'll notice that it's all in caps. I will go ahead and change that now to a V. And for retaining it for the future days, I do not note whether it's the value area high or the value area low. It's just more typing, so I'll just put V on there. That way I know if I'm eating up towards this price, that I'm approaching an old value area. And I can look on my TPO chart to find out what that's referencing, but it just keeps my DOM a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all this. That's the C up. Here's the low from a previous day. This is the POC from yesterday's TPO. I'm going to just change that to P, that was a POC at some point. I do not mark my VWAPs on here because they're always changing. Here's the value area high. Just going to change that to a V. Block, I type BLOC, I'll go through and look at the CME website, and I'll find the block trades, like maybe 5,000 or 10,000 contracts traded here, and I'll just type it in there. I haven't really studied the interaction of prices there, but I just feel like it's a good thing to throw on the DOM as a level. Here's the overnight point of control. I'm going to mark that P. Previous day's settlement, just going to mark that with an S, change it to lowercase s. Yesterday's high, I'll just change to a lowercase h. And that's the end of the day's markings. As you can see, there's just, if you scroll down, there's just a couple of data points that are on there. There's a point of control, there's a previous low, there's a previous value area. So that takes care of clearing the DOM out. Then I'm going to come over here to the CME website. I'm going to grab the low of day, 138.08. 138.08. I'll swing myself down here, 138.08. 138.08. Okay, and for this, I will put yesterday's low, YL, in caps. Then I'm going to move up to the settlement, 140.25. And I'm just going to write SET for settlement. And then I will find the yesterday's high, which is 141.28. So you see, yesterday's high, which is really today's session, today's Friday session, is the same as a previous value area high or value area low. So I want to note that in my DOM before I write over that. I'm just going to note in let's see that now. UB, the high of day is the same as prior value area. And I just keep a running little list of all these things, these correlations. At some point, I hope to get really serious about statistical analysis, to download all the data from these products, put them in a spreadsheet, and search for the number of times when certain things happen by querying certain questions, and just to help me have a more solid sense of probabilities as I enter trades, and to take some of the guesswork out of it, make it a little bit more logical. Okay, so the V is now become yesterday's high. All right. And next up, I will get rid of this here, maximize this. And what you've got here is, oops, that's not where I want to be. I want to be to the TPO. Where are you? Oh, I dragged the wrong screen down here. I'll have to excuse me one moment. I'm going to have to. Oh, let's see here. I'm going to make these DOMs go away. Then I'm going to grab this little guy right here. And I will send this down to this screen. I'll bring my DOMs back. And I'm going to maximize this. So I believe this is the chart where my DOMs are living. Yes, indeed. There we go. There's the UB. That's what I was looking for. So you see what I've done is this is the TPO from today. This tracks only the regular trading hours. And I've got it set up so that it prints a number for the value area high. It prints the actual price for the POC, and it prints the actual price for the value area low. It makes it easier for me to harvest this information. And not sure if you noticed, but when I took away those DOMs, there's these items down here at the bottom. These are the footprint stats. Each one matches the chart above it. And what it's tracking, these are set to 30-second increments. And it's on top, it's the number of market buy orders. So the market buys that consumed resting offers. It's 279 there. And then 492 market orders sold, actually executed, within this 30-second time frame. And the difference between these two lines is positive or negative. There were more buyers or more sellers, or more market orders executed versus more market sell orders executed. So that's your delta, and that's 213. That'll be colored red or green depending on whether it's positive or negative. And then beneath that is the total volume traded during those 30 seconds. Okay, so those will keep updating, and then once it reaches 30 seconds, it'll push on to a new tab. And that's just helpful for me to be able to, let's say that a whole bunch of activity takes place. I'm going to look down here and see what happened in the last 30 seconds, the last minute, the last minute and a half, the last 2 minutes, whatever. So this goes back about 3, 4, 5 minutes. And I only retain that for my data series. This is in a NinjaTrader chart. I only set that to 40 bars as a look back. So it's only looking back 40 times 30-second bars. So I'm not putting a huge amount of data taxed on my system. And that has been very helpful for me to do. So that's what those are. Let's see here. Getting back in here. Now I can come up to make sure we're in UB. Yes, we are. So now I'm going to add in the value area high, the POC, and the value area low. So value area high was 141.05. Cruise up here, That's VAH, value area high. I'm going to go to 140.25 for the POC. Now, see, here's another thing where I will note. And you can't see my note screen, but what I'm going to type is that we're still in UB and the POC is the same as settlement. So 140.025. Okay. So the POC from the regular trading hour session, TPO, is the same as the settlement price, which is where it was at 2 p.m. And that's frequently the case. A lot of times at the end of the day, it'll just find the VWAP or the point of control, and it'll just rotate around that. And that's why you'll find the settlement, the settlement ends up being near the VWAP or the POC for that day. A lot of times the volume will increase right at the last minute, and it'll just wiggle around between a couple different prices as big buyers and sellers just do huge transactions that they were probably planning on for quite a while before that close took place. I think these are important numbers, not experientially, but I understand that larger institutional players will reference these points, the settlement, the high, the low, on a daily basis. So perhaps that's why they are reactive levels or whatever. But in any case, we've got the VAL, we've got the POC. We're going to do the value area low, which is 139.25. 25. VAL. Oops. VAL. All right. So there you have it. That's pretty much how I do that. Now you'll see this is all set up here. All right. And then the next day, when everything is when the overnight hours are traded, what I'll do is I'll mark the overnight high, I'll mark the overnight point of control, and I'll mark the overnight low. I'll do that, right around 7:15 or something like that, 7:10. And then when the market opens at 7:20, again I'll wait 5 minutes, and then I'll mark the opening range high with the dashes. I'll mark the opening range low, and then I'll mark my A ups and my C ups, A downs, my C downs, and then it's off to the races. Anyway, with that, I will say goodbye. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any, feedback or suggestions, please feel free to hit me up on Twitter. I am at Equanimous Trade, and I hope you have a great day. Take it easy.